Have you ever woken up from a dream? Maybe something completely wild, nonsensical even, or maybe something so deeply emotional it felt, more real than waking life. And you just thought, what was that? And why on earth did my brain just cook that up?
Oh, definitely. Such a universal thing, isn't it?
Right. We all dream, but for something so common, it's still one of the brain's biggest mysteries. So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. We've looked at your sources, especially a really insightful piece from Healthline, medically reviewed by Debra Sullivan and written by James Rowland, and we've pulled out the key takeaways. Our mission, basically, is to explore what dreams actually are, look into the main theories about why we have them, understand nightmares a bit better, see what influences our dreams, and even share some tips on how you might remember yours a bit more clearly.
It's fascinating because, the mystery around dreams has been around forever. We've figured out a lot about sleep itself, how crucial it is for, everything.
Metabolism, blood pressure.
Right, brain function, all of that. But the specific purpose of dreaming, that's consistently been harder for researchers to really explain. It's like this whole secret world our minds create every night.
Okay, so we've established it's mysterious. Let's get down to basics, though. Based on the research, how does science actually define what a dream is?
Well, at its core, a dream is basically defined as a hallucination, one that happens during certain stages of sleep.
Hallucinations. Wow, that's a strong word. Does that mean our brain is really seeing things or experiencing things that aren't there, like someone hallucinating while awake?
Yeah, in a way, exactly. And what's really interesting is that dreams are strongest during REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. But here's the weird part, the paradox. You might actually be less likely to remember your dream if you wake up during that really intense REM stage.
Huh, that seems backwards.
It does, right. See, when you're awake, your thoughts tend to follow, a logical sequence. But when you're asleep, your brain is super active. But the thoughts, these hallucinations, they often make little or no sense. And that's probably because the emotional centers of the brain are kind of driving the bus rather than the logical parts.
Okay.
But even though they can be nonsensical, dreams are usually autobiographical. They pull from your recent stuff, activities, talks you had, other things going on in your life.
That makes sense, connecting back to our day, even if it gets all twisted and strange in the dream. But okay, why do we dream? If it's not always logical, what's the actual point? This is where it gets really interesting, right? Because researchers don't completely agree, but there are some pretty solid theories out there.
Absolutely. One really compelling idea is sometimes called the dreams as therapists theory. It basically suggests that dreams might be our brain's way of dealing with emotional dramas in our lives, processing them.
So like working through stuff subconsciously?
Exactly. What's fascinating is because your brain is working on a much more emotional level when you're asleep compared to when you're awake. It might make connections about feelings, about experiences that your conscious mind, with all its logic and defenses, just wouldn't make.
So if I'm stressed about something or dealing with strong emotions, my brain might literally be sorting through it while I sleep, making links I wouldn't consciously, like a free nightly therapy session.
Pretty much, that kind of vital background processing. Then there's another big one, dreams as fight or flight training.
Okay.
The amygdala, that part of the brain linked to survival instincts, the fight or flight response. Well, it's actually most active during dreaming. So this theory suggests that all that activity might be the brain's way of, prepping you to handle a threat, running drills, basically.
Like mental rehearsals for danger.
Sort of, but luckily there's a safety mechanism. The brainstem sends out nerve signals during REM sleep that relax your muscles, so you don't physically react, start running or punching in your sleep.
Okay, that's good to know. No accidental dream fighting. And then there's the idea of dreams being like our muse, linked to creativity. I've definitely heard artists say they get ideas from dreams.
Yeah, the dreams as your muse idea. This explores how dreams might help spark our creative side. Lots of artists, writers, musicians, they credit dreams for inspiring some of their best work. And I bet you've woken up sometimes with a cool idea, right?
Oh, for sure. Though sometimes it makes less sense in the morning light.
True. But the key insight here isn't just that artists get ideas, it's why. When you're dreaming, your brain essentially takes the brakes off. That logic filter you use when you're awake, the one that can sometimes stifle creativity, it's gone. So your thoughts and ideas can just roam free, no restrictions. It's like a pure brainstorming session without any self-criticism.
Wow. So if you're feeling stuck creatively, maybe pay more attention to your dreams. Your mind's just letting loose in there. That's powerful. Okay, and the last big theory you mentioned was dreams as memory aids.
Right. This is a really widely held theory. It suggests dreams help us store important memories, things we've learned, but also maybe help us get rid of unimportant memories, kind of like cleaning house. And they help sort through complex thoughts and feelings too. We already know from research that sleep itself definitely helps store memories. You recall new info better after sleeping.
Okay.
Now, exactly how dreams play a specific role in memory storage and recall, that's not totally clear yet. But if you connect the dots, it seems dreams might help the brain store the important stuff more efficiently, maybe while filtering out distractions that could interfere with memory and learning.
So it's like this crucial consolidation process happening while we sleep.
Yeah, a vital part of making sense of our daily lives and locking things in.
And if dreams are helping us sort memories, and often we don't even remember the dreams themselves, does that mean our brain's doing all this important work completely behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Whether we recall the dream or not.
Exactly. That's what's so fascinating, that unseen work. It doesn't always need us to consciously remember it for it to be effective.
Incredible. Yeah. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. What about when dreams, well, when they turn scary? What's happening when we have nightmares?
Right. Nightmares are essentially just dreams that are more frightening or upsetting. They're often triggered by things like stress, anxiety. Sometimes they can be a reaction to certain medications too.
Makes sense.
But this brings up an important point. When does the occasional scary dream cross the line into being a real problem?
Yeah, good question.
The Healthline Deep Dive points out that they're generally considered a sleep disorder if they start causing anxiety about going to sleep, or if they frequently disrupt your sleep, or if they lead to other sleeping issues or psychological problems. But it's worth noting, the American Sleep Association estimates only about 5% of people have persistent nightmares that qualify as a sleep disorder. So it's relatively uncommon at that level.
Okay, that's a helpful distinction. So beyond these internal processes and the big theories, what about more tangible things in our daily lives? Does something like what we eat or how much sleep we get actually shape our dreams?
Oh, absolutely. A bunch of factors from our waking life can definitely influence our dreams. For starters, certain health conditions, like if you've been sleep deprived, maybe missed a night or two of good sleep, parts of your brain can become much more active when you do finally get into REM sleep. And that can lead to more vivid dreams, and you might remember them better too.
So, ironically, less sleep could mean more memorable dreams. That's wild.
It can happen. It's almost like your brain is trying to catch up on its dream time when it gets the chance. Pregnancy is another one. The increase in hormones can lead to really intense dreams. It affects how the brain processes thoughts and emotions.
Right.
And mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder. Those can also trigger intense dreams, sometimes disturbing or negative ones, nightmares included. And interestingly, some medications used for these conditions, like certain antidepressants and antipsychotics, are also linked to a higher risk of nightmares.
Okay, that's a lot on the health side. What about food? I've heard people say eating cheese before bed gives them weird dreams. Is there anything to that?
The cheese thing? Well, look, there isn't really solid, indisputable evidence that specific foods directly cause, wilder or better dreams. However, some foods might set the stage for you to remember your dreams more clearly. Like, think about high-carb foods. It might give you quick energy. Then a sugar crash, right? Makes you feel down.
Yep.
Anything affecting your waking mood can potentially carry over into your sleep, into your unconscious mood too. So yeah, those feelings could pop up in dreams. Plus, and this is maybe more direct, if a food causes indigestion or something that makes you wake up more often during the night, if you wake up during REM sleep, you're simply more likely to remember whatever dream was happening at that moment. So it's less the food itself causing the dream, maybe more about it disrupting sleep at the right or wrong time.
Gotcha. It's more about sleep quality and timing. What about our activities during the day? Does exercise make a difference?
It does. So just like being sleep deprived can lead to more vivid dreams, getting a consistently good night's sleep tends to cut down on the intense dreams you remember. And there was a small study that found exercising in the morning, like a good run or cardio before noon, can help regulate your body clock.
Okay.
Which means you might fall asleep faster and spend more time in deep sleep stages. Apparently, serious runners and athletes often spend less time in REM sleep overall, which is actually one of the lighter stages of sleep where most vivid dreaming occurs.
Interesting.
And, well, it stands to reason the better you manage stress during the day, the less likely you are to carry that stress and anxiety into bed with you. And that should naturally help reduce nightmares and interrupted sleep.
Okay, so it all connects back. Manage stress, maybe exercise in the morning, try to get consistent sleep. That could all influence your dream life. Now, for maybe the most practical question. If you're like me, sometimes you wake up, you have this fuzzy image, this feeling from a dream. You try so hard to grasp it, but poof, it just vanishes the moment you think about it. How can you actually remember your dreams better? Is it even possible for most people?
It's a super common frustration. And there's a brain chemistry reason for it. The chemical linked to memory, norepinephrine,
Yeah.
and the brain's electrical activity that helps with recall. They're both at their lowest levels when you're dreaming. So crucially, you generally only remember a dream if you wake up during it. The ones you recall are basically the ones that were in progress when you woke up.
Right, okay.
But yes, there are things you can try. First, simple intention. As you're falling asleep, tell yourself, I want to remember my dream. Seriously. If that's your last thought, you might be more likely to wake up with a dream still kind of fresh.
Like planting a suggestion.
Exactly. Second, immediate recall is key. Dream memories are incredibly fragile. The slightest distraction can wipe them out. So as soon as you wake up, before you get out of bed, before you think about your day, try to replay as much of the dream as you can in your mind.
Just lie there and focus.
Yes. And third, record it immediately. Keep a notepad or your phone right by your bed. Write down anything you remember, images, feelings, snippets of plot, whatever fragments you have. Get them down right away.
Makes sense. Intention, immediate focus, and writing it down. Good tips. Well, this has been fascinating. We've really taken a deep dive into the strange and wonderful world of dreams. We've gone from what they even are to all those interesting theories about why we have them, what causes nightmares, what shapes them day to day, all pulled from that great Healthline resource. It really drives home how connected dreams are to our waking lives, our health, our emotions, even if they feel totally separate sometimes.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. Considering how much vital work seems to be happening while we dream, emotional processing, memory sorting, perhaps the real value isn't always in what we remember from a dream, but in all that crucial, unseen work our brains are doing while we're completely unaware. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What important background tasks is your brain running every single night that you might be totally overlooking? Something to think about next time you wake up.